How's it
Hey,
going?
what's going on, brother?
All
Wow.
right.
Wonderful. Wonderful,
Very,
man.
very exciting. This is one of my first kind of live events type thing. So this is great. This is the start of a whole new journey for me. So
That's beautiful. I'm so happy,
yeah,
man. It's like just got the idea and I was like, hey, yo, this is good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
happy to be able to do this. Thank you for accepting the invitation to hang out.
yeah. I know when I kind of read about kind of what you're doing over there and having kind of the music um, uh, classes and just things like that, just everything involved with that. I'm like, this is pretty much right along the same lines of exactly what I'm doing. So just
Yeah.
starting, that kind of stuff and get that going. So I was like, I think this makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's so good. I can't wait to hear more about that. And want to welcome those who are
Yeah.
watching online on the live, either on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. This is a great day. It's my birthday month, so this is like a late birthday present for me. I'm
Sweet.
so thankful, and at the same time, we're almost hit 10,000 followers on Facebook, and I'm just so amazed and blessed. Like this is just in 2 months, like all organic, just posting regularly, and so it's amazing. Like we have people from Africa, Philippines, everywhere, all over, and it's just I look at the people following, and I'm like so thankful for you guys. I'm so thankful. It's such a good.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm honored to introduce my special guest, Eric Stalter, from the U.S., the founder of the Skool group. It's a string thing, and it's a community for private lesson instructors of string instruments who want to grow as teachers and help their students thrive. So that's so beautiful. I'm just a new musician at 45 years old. I started getting into music, producing, and instruments, and I started making these videos like trying to learn guitar. Old dog learning new tricks. So I just turned 46. I'm at the beginning. I suck, but I'm just showing the journey. So I'm so honored and thankful to have someone like you who's been
Well,
doing
thank
this.
you.
I appreciate all the hard work and dedication. I'm amazed. I used to love just listening to music, but now when I see what goes into it, wow, I slay
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah. 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 All new
amazing,
appreciation.
man.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the same thing when I see somebody that has perfected their craft, whether it be an individual instrument or even a voice. I'm just like, that's absolutely amazing. And then I realize how much, like you said, that didn't happen overnight, right? That
I
took
know.
time. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
always great.
it was interesting. I saw some short of like Justin Bieber. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, but I just know him for singing. But he was doing like a drum competition. I was like, with another guy, and I was like, man, like that guy's got skills. Like to just be able to hit the drums like that. Like you don't just wake up and do
No.
it. You know what I mean? Like drums are
Yeah.
hard for me when I try. But so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So yeah,
sorry.
I'd love to hear more about your journey. Like, how did you get into music?
Well, in fourth grade, is where they introduced instruments our to the school, and so I'm like, I don't want the violin. Everybody else wants the violin. I don't want to be like everybody else. So I picked the viola, which is definitely not as usually as common. And but then I stuck with that, and then by sixth grade, seventh grade, the jazz band didn't have a bass player, and I'm like, it can't be that hard. It's just four strings, right? It can't be that hard. I would love to have a recording of those first 2 years me playing bass because I bet they were terrible. Um, but by high school, it kind of settled in and it made good sense to me. And then basically went to college to study music. And
Oh wow.
then I got what I affectionately call that was the start of my musical ADD. And I'm just like, no, I want to play that guitar. Hey, what's that mandolin? Hey, what's and I just started picking up more instruments and more because it a lot of times like once you kind of get that Rosetta Stone, so to speak, then all of a sudden they all start to make a little bit more sense. And but then with everything else, just life happened, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make music full time. And then it's been in the last 2 years or so that I kind of started doing more stuff with music and Basically, I'm on the journey to do it completely full time, whether it be teaching. I also fix and repair instruments. So all the
Oh,
instruments I
nice.
play, I fix and repair those. So I do that on the side too, and because I just don't have enough stuff going on, and now I've got Skool going, and that's where I'm going to start my the online lesson stuff, because I'm going to open up another community here in a little bit, but that's pretty much overall my
Yeah,
musical
that's
journey, other than just playing with groups here and there my entire life. I play a lot of church right now, and teach at
oh,
church.
nice.
So yeah.
Oh, that's
So
awesome,
yeah, so
brother.
that's
Real good.
in a nutshell, that's my journey.
Yeah, the more and more I think about it, like I think of like the worship team and everything. And I'm like, man, like these people day in day, week out, week in, week out, they're like really giving their all, and it's not, they're not doing it for fame, recognition. Many people won't even know it, but like when you see someone who's been playing the piano for like 50 years in the church and different things, and now that I see what goes on behind it, and then also the choir, like my sister-in-law, she's like in the choir, and just amazed, it's just but music is just so, there's just something about it, when you create music, or you can express, your feelings, things through it. I was listening to this guitar riff. I was making some music, and then like on Suno, some AI music, and there was this guitar riff, and I was like, man, like that, it just kind of like went through me. Like I felt like, I don't know, man, like it's like just this.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it feels so amazing, and it's like started rapping to it because I was like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No, music is very similar to that, kind of like smells, right? Like you can be going along, and all of a sudden you smell like just a different smell than normal, and all of a sudden you're transported back 20 years to whatever point where that smell originally was, and you're like, where did that come from? Same thing with music. All of a sudden you're just like, I don't know what that is, but I got to find out more. Right? Like
yeah, that's so
you
true.
get overwhelmed, and you're just like, I need this. And yeah.
That happened today. Like when I asked you to send like a piece, right, for the music,
Yeah.
and then you sent the video. I converted to the MP3. I heard the
Yeah.
Bob Marley, and it's like, because I used to listen to Bob Marley when I was a kid. I was like, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, I want to go to Jamaica, smoke weed. And then when I went to Jamaica I lived there for like about 6 months for
Awesome.
missionary training school. I went with YWAM. So instead of going for like wasted, like useless things, I thought when I was a kid, God had me go there to like learn to get equipped for ministry, and then
Awesome.
preach the gospel. So it was amazing, man. So it's just, but yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
the bar.
Yeah.
Marley
No, I
was,
went through a solid reggae phase in college, where it was probably about 6 months of nothing but reggae, nothing.
yeah,
And
nice, man.
yeah, just over and over again. So yeah, definitely part of part of my journey too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, I just started creating some reggae music because I'm practicing for DJ, so I'm doing like a certification,
Oh
like
yeah.
a semi pro thing. So the thing there, you have to have like lounge music. So I made like 12 tracks for my assignment for like lounge kind of jazzy type background music, and then the one you got to do
Yes.
the floor. So like Christian, like house, techno, and reggae and stuff like that. So putting together like the floor one. So I'm hoping that I can be ready for tomorrow and get my team, my compound like there, and like they'll do like some fingernails
Awesome.
with like a lounge set, kind of like, and then do also do the dance floor, get them dancing. It was funny because at Christmas time I was like, all right, we're gonna, like New Year's, we're gonna dance, but then I like put these tracks together, but it was like praying for nations, and I didn't. It was not really. It was more like there's like Middle Eastern background, and it's like my son was like angry because I kept saying, "Get your dancing shoes," and they're like,
and then it's
what?
not even
You
close.
can't even dance to this. So I've been learning and getting prepared more for that. So yeah, different genres. It's amazing.
Well, good. So yeah.
So when did you realize that there was like? Did you have like a moment where you realized that music was more than just a hobby to you? You've been doing it like your whole life. But.
Well, I've been doing it my whole life, but it was like while I was in college, especially right at the end, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to make any money doing this, because at that point, I really just played, and I just messed around, played in several different bands. But then I've had a couple different careers, and but the whole time music has been there, and did a lot of time repairing and setting up friends' instruments so they're playable. getting the string action right, getting just whatever, getting things fixed. If it breaks, repair it. And about at this point now, about 2 years ago, I basically said, this is silly. I'm doing this. I've got the free time. Let's kind of legitimize it and basically form an actual company. And so that's what String Thing is what it originally started as, was just me being able to teach and being able to repair instruments. And that was just kind of like the push. I just felt like I needed to do that. And next thing I know, I realized I'm actually bringing in a little bit of money, and it's getting to the point where it might actually be possible to do it. And yeah. And I went to a music conference down in Florida, and it was for worship praise leaders. And so as I'm down there, we're just talking, and one of the presenters, and I was just like, oh, like felt that just strong pull. And I'm like, okay, I hear you, and like start really working at this. And so then it was like, okay, how can I functionally do this, what I'm being called and led to do? And that's where it's like I just started talking to people. I have a coach that kind of helps push me along, keeps me guided and not too distracted with 500 other things. And that's where kind of Skool started, and getting that going. So I'm kind of behind the scenes right now, making as many videos as I can for like different things. And yeah, because then obviously, like if we look on YouTube, there's hundreds of teachers, right? Hundreds of people doing teaching. And the thing that I'm basically my superpower, which isn't really a superpower, there's a lot of other people with this, but multi-instruments. And so when I teach people, I'm like, okay, you already play guitar. Guess what? That means you can play these two instruments without even trying, because they're virtually the exact same instrument on a different body, different strings. And basically kind of like that string translator, like that, the ability to just go, look, you don't need to start at ground zero. If you want to be able to play 2, 3, 4 instruments, and especially for praise band, right? So like if you go to like a lot of praise bands around here have like 15 guitar players available, but they only have one bass player. They don't have any violins. They don't have any, other instruments that can add to it. So it's like, guess what? That's where I come in. You already play one of those.
That's awesome.
Give me a couple months, maybe a couple weeks, depending how fast you get to it. And I can have you playing the other instruments based on what you already know. And that's the whole idea. And that's what I'm, like I said, I've been kind of led by God, just go teach. And ever since I said yes, it's amazing how many things have just kind of fallen into place. Right. Wow. And like, cause for years I was just like, I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to make any money. I finally said yes. And guess what happens? I mean, I'm not retiring tomorrow. Right. But I'm making, it's on that line to where I can end up doing it full time at some point.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of potential also with Skool. So that's good that you're in there as well. Yeah, I think, like that's why it's good to promote like a lot, promoting, you got to get yourself out there. People don't know about you, right? So that's why I've been doing like this social media kick, like, just posting and kind of, and so it's good. Yeah. I was amazed when I saw all the instruments you had. You had the picture there, like all these instruments. I showed my family, like, look at these instruments. My daughter's like, oh, that, like naming them all. Yeah. But I really love the violin also. I like the sound of the violin. But my sister-in-law started teaching me the guitar, but she was learning like this Filipino bandurria while she was here. She was here for a month with us. It's so many strings. And I was just like amazed with her dedication, because she was training like at least 4 hours a day, because she had like a recital. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to get like the routine to like get up, do my things, but I like learn the flute and the guitar, and then like, singing and the piano. And I'm just like trying to, DJing, and I'm just trying to absorb myself. I have other responsibilities because I run like nonprofit ministries and starting a business. So I'm like, all that stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I just want to play music all day, man. It's like,
Yeah. No. What you got to do is learn how not to sleep ever. That's all you got to do.
So overrated. Many long nights, man. I hear you for sure.
Yeah. So
good. So like when you play the multiple string instruments,
yeah.
How does learning one help with the other? You just talked about that, but like, how does like going from guitar to violin, like, or
so for me, like when I'm trying to compare the instruments, right? So then like if you can play guitar, it's not necessarily the names of the strings, it's the spacing, right? So in music, right, like the distance between the notes is either like determined like, and it's an octave, to where it's the same note but a little higher. You got fifths, fourths, seconds, so degrees of the scale compared to what note you have. So on the guitar, the highest four pitch strings, the D, G, B, E, that's spacing. It's a fourth, a third, and a fourth. So then I go, what other instruments have that? Ukulele. That's exactly a ukulele.
Our kids are all doing the ukulele right now.
Yeah. So guess what? Every skill they perform on a ukulele transfers immediately to guitar. They're just named different things. So like, when you play like a D on the guitar, but you do that exact same shape on a ukulele, it's a G. Right? But it's the same shape. So then all your chord patterns that you learn either on guitar go right over to ukulele, or whatever you learn on ukulele goes right over to guitar. And actually, if you put a capo on the 5th fret of your guitar and then play there, that's a ukulele.
Yeah, I was wondering. I don't even know what I see them on the guitars. I wonder why they have this. You move it for like
Told. So the capos. So like, say I'm playing like something like in the key of G, just random, right? And I'm just playing those chords. But then the person singing goes, that's too low for me, or I can't sing that. Then you can take your capo, and there's several different types of capos, right? I mean, like there's variations. I like this one because I feel like it squeezes a little bit more even, but tomato. There's so many people that use clamp ones, other ones, but then this one also, I can rest up here and not worry about it. But then if I play the same shapes, so still playing the key of G, so I play the same shape. I don't have to learn anything else. But now I'm technically, when I put the capo on 4 and play a G, I'm in the key of B. Right? So that part is not as important as being able to just play the functional chords. Because for me, it's kind of like speaking versus grammar. Right? When you speak and communicate with somebody, you don't have to say comma, semicolon. This is a noun. And but that's the music theory of the music language, right? Is the grammar and all that is the music theory. So knowing that this is the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and being able to dissect and analyze that, it's just like with English or any other language, and going through and specifying all the grammar. So like, this is a noun, this is a comma, this is a gerund, whatever those other words are. I don't know. I'm not good with English, grammar wise, but you can communicate whether you can do that or not. So that's really my whole thing is, let's communicate. If you want to learn the theory later, dude, we'll learn the theory. But there's not a initial need to just be able to go, oh, this is this because of this. Now we go here. Okay. No, if you just know when you see that letter G, then you see, and then you play those chords because you see those letters. You don't need to know why you're playing those letters. And then that basically lets people get almost immediately playing, and they don't have to worry about it. And once you're playing, it's way more fun. Right? I mean, like scales and other things like that are still an important part of it, but at the very beginning, absolutely not necessary. So yeah, that's kind of how I like how one instrument helps the other. right? So, and then there's, variations depending on the instruments and how you can go about getting all that done. So, but yeah, that's kind of how my brain works anytime. So I've already got a list of probably about another 5-10 instruments that I want to get and learn how to play. Because I figure I'm like, as soon as I get them, give me a month and then I'll teach. Yeah, at least the beginnings and the functions of them, right? I'll never be a master of any of these, but I mean, I can play and I can teach, right?
It's the foundation, right? I remember
Yes.
because I used to take martial arts, and my martial arts teacher would always tell me, as long as you have a strong foundation, then you can add on. But he was also humble. Like he was like a grandmaster, but he would see somebody that would do something. He's like, oh, that's interesting. He said I would go down and get him to teach me, and then I'd teach him something. And and he's like, of course I would make it better. But that's the thing, right? We always teachable, have a humble spirit where we can learn new things. It's good when we can teach other people, right? Because why take all that? I mean, why keep it to yourself? So that's interesting. So you tell a little bit more about your teaching. Like you teach other people, right? Or you're just teaching teachers? Or...
No. I actually, I teach. I have 2 facilities here in town where I live.
Oh, wow.
Where I teach, and I spend the majority of the time at one, and then the smaller portion at my church, because our church actually now it's been almost 10 years, about 9 years ago, opened up an arts academy to where
that's amazing.
we started off with just music private lessons, because we had a chunk of people who were willing to teach, and we had a good number of people who wanted to learn. But then in the next few years, it kind of added right up to where now we also do actual art, like painting, sculpting. We do cooking. So basically all the arts, right? Anything that's not, like school, academic, traditional, with like all the arts. And so we do, dancing, a little bit of everything. And it's all centered around praising God. Right. So it's all church-based religion, that. And so it's been really nice, because we've had a few people actually go on into our praise band, or one of because I've been very blessed with the church I'm at. We've got 4 praise bands. We're not a huge church, but we're not small either. So at least for around here, we got some mega churches, so it's like you can't really say you're big until but that's okay. But yeah, awesome. So do that, but then I teach downtown, and so I've got people all the way from kids that are in elementary school, 8, 9, 10-year-olds who are just starting and have no idea what this instrument is, but their parent gave them an instrument and said, go learn. And all the way up through any ages. I've got a couple high school bass players that can play really well, but they want to know, they're on the next step, right? So the first step is play, communicate, have some fun. Now they're at the point, they're like, when I see this chord chart and there's no notes, how do I know what to play? Okay, now we got to learn some of that grammar, because then you have a basis, like you said, kind of a good foundation. Here's how you get your foundation. Then you put your own personal twist on it. And that's how you're going to be able to read those charts and play that bass. And I even have a couple retired people who just are like, I've played guitar for 40 years, but I play the same thing for the last 30. Okay, let's figure something out. Let's have some fun. And, so
variety.
So yeah. And then I know I do try to mix kind of traditional skills, because you have to have some functional skills no matter what to play. You can modify those, right? But then I also go, so about half the lesson, maybe 2/3 of whatever lesson I have is like, okay, here's some things you need to work on. Here's what you need to have and make sure it's a solid foundation. The other one goes, what are you listening to right now? What do you want to play with? Right? Like if all of a sudden, like, how we were talking earlier, if you're going through a little reggae phase, let's pick a song and let's try to play that song. I don't care if we only get one note. Let's get one note, because then that's also a little bit of ownership for them. And it's also the ability to have your brain shuts off in a different way, right? If you're learning skills versus kind of just having fun, two different things. If you mix them together, you might get lucky and really excel, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's yeah,
that's
yeah.
so good. So, what inspired you to start teaching instead of like only performing? You said you were in a couple bands and stuff like that, but
Well, actually, it started in college because I was that guy. Not only was I a music major, but I couldn't stop playing. It didn't matter. Um, I just played, and I still have a guy from college who's like, Eric, do you still play at 2 a.m. and just play? I'm like, sometimes, yeah, yeah, I do, and and because I'm almost 48, and so like I still just just play. But
yeah.
with that, there were three guys on the floor um, that are all like, I want to play that. I want to play guitar. And one guy got an electric guitar and he goes, I want to solo like Van Halen. I said, awesome. I said, I can't do that, but I know how. I just can't do it. So I said, okay, here's where you got to start, and showed him some of this stuff. And then, and like some of like I don't know if you can even hear that with the microphone, but like,
Oh, I can hear it. It's great. Yeah.
yeah, but like some of that, like advanced stuff, like I'm like, I got an idea, but it's not my forte. And
There's
but with
so many
that,
levels.
yeah, but I ended up teaching those three guys how to play. And as far as I know, they all still play.
That's
And so
awesome.
then just periodically, little by little, I would, help teach or teach somebody, whether it was just a little something, whether it was, a lot. And but yeah, like I said, just it's been in the last few years now where I'm like, I think I can actually, start to do this consistently enough that it actually not only am I called, but like it makes sense financially for my family. So yeah. So I've just
So,
been
so
kind
when
of
did you?
teaching off and on.
Yeah, right. So when
Yeah.
did you start the studios then?
The church one I've been teaching at for about 10 years. And then the one downtown, or what I call downtown, is I started that one about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. It had opened up. Do you know Sweetwater
Yeah.
music company, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Based here in Fort Wayne, where I live.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
nice.
I live in Sweetwater
Wow.
town.
Oh,
We call
nice.
it Fort Wayne, but it's really Sweetwater town. And
Yeah.
but the guy who started that opened up this Pearl Arts Academy for
Oh,
music,
wow.
and then also for recording, and then like running stage, and do like that for
Bro,
performances.
that's amazing. Like
And
I'm seriously
yep,
planning to open one up like this year. I'm gonna look for like a warehouse thing. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
sorry
So
to interrupt, but yeah,
no,
because
no,
I'm getting
perfectly
excited
fine.
as you talk about that.
No, so
So
like
because I was
it's
thinking like, do you do something like have like talent shows, like people can take the lessons and then they can have like talent show where they have the lights and the stage and
yeah,
that
yeah,
environment,
no,
right?
because then you can teach lighting, you can teach staging, you can teach. I mean, there's so much to it,
Yeah,
and like everything else, the basics of it, easy and simple. To make it look really good and easy, that takes practice, man. That's like I can take a light and shine it on you, right?
yeah,
That's lighting. But to get the right light at the right time, at the right distance, at the right, that's a whole
yeah,
nother world, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, but because of the teaching downtown, that's what really, because I teach now on a consistent basis between downtown and church. I have about 25 to 30 students throughout each week. Some an hour long lesson, some a half-hour long lesson. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And so that's sweet. So the facility is probably pretty good. No, if Sweetwater built it up, right?
No, the
So,
facility is amazing. Yeah, I mean it
that's
really
awesome.
is.
They got
The
all the gear and everything. They sell the gear.
no,
I've seen like their
the
website. I looked at their stuff.
yeah, no,
Wow,
the
it's amazing.
he wanted to make sure the performance hall that's in there is not an overly big one. Um, it's got room if it's a small performance group, and they do like performance in the round. So they sit in the middle and all the chairs are all around it for the whole thing. they can fit about 350 at the
Oh, wow.
most, right? So it's
That's
still
so
a
big.
small venue, but it's still, I mean,
Yeah.
that's still not tiny. It's just that's not a 10,000 seat, performance. And
Right.
but our building is right next to a railroad track, which, as you
Oh,
know,
really?
noise, heavy, shaky.
Oh,
So they built that thing with about 4 feet of mixed padding and suspension stuff for the floor. So there's
oh,
no
wow.
vibration. You can't, when you're in that room,
Oh, what?
you have no idea anything outside of this room exists.
Wow.
They have
That's
acoustic
amazing.
panels all the way around. They have microphones throughout the whole
I
ceiling
can't
and the
imagine.
walls, and
What?
speakers all the way around.
Oh,
So what they're actually
what?
able to do is go on the computer backstage. They can click performers are right here. All the microphones that are pointing to that
What?
get
Oh, that's
get
crazy.
no. It gets better because then all those speakers that all around, you can
Yeah.
go, I want it to sound like a small room, and it'll sound like a small room. Or you can go, I want it to sound like a giant hall with a little bit of reverb, ting. And then it will play
What?
throughout the speakers digitally. It'll put all around and it'll sound like Carnegie Hall.
Oh, man. That's,
No, I mean, like, it's amazing.
that's
I mean,
so.
but then there
And you get to
are,
teach there?
oh yeah, no, trust me. I know how lucky I am. And I got in when they opened. So I've been there since day one.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a lot of fun stuff.
Sounds amazing. Like, yeah, because I've been like planning some things, like, because I've been getting a business started here. So, like, a showroom thing where we can sell the instruments. And then, like, I was thinking of that, like, also like CCTV cameras where it can be like, that they're built in so you don't have to set up things, kind of like a podcast area and stuff. And but that takes another level. That's crazy. The microphone's built in. Like, I wouldn't think about that.
No, that's beyond my normal. That's beyond my normal realm.
Yeah, so I mean,
But-
that's beautiful. No, you get to go
Yeah.
there and have.
yeah.
So, that's really good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a nice facility, good system. He also wanted to make sure that many kids and adults, but many kids basically have no obstruction to get lessons. So I would say half of all the students in the system down there are all on scholarship. So some of the kids don't pay anything. They literally get to come in every week
Amazing.
for a half hour or an hour and get professional instruction. So, and then some of them are on partial scholarships and that, but either way, he basically set it up to make it viable for everybody to come in and take lessons. So
is he a believer also, or?
I know he goes to church as far as I know. I don't know where he stands. I've never actually talked to him, but
Cool,
yeah,
though,
but
he's got a good heart. Now he wants to reach out to the community. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes. No,
that's good
absolutely.
to know. I didn't know. I bought like some like different VSTs and stuff. I think off the Sweetwater.
Yeah. No,
good. That's so good because even like the DJ and stuff, I don't know where it's like. I'm thinking, the DJ and stuff, but we can do like, weddings or something like that. And have, like, offer the lighting, the sound, like different packages. So, and then train people. That's also what I want to do. I want to like start like for youth that, say no to drugs and say yes to music. Like there's this DJ coach in the US that they're in like 21 states and that's who I'm doing my certification with. And they're looking at me being like their first out of country coach, where basically you'd have like these little DJ things, like you have 5 youth in there or 10 youth. One would go, the other one help out, like train coaches. So something different for the young people to teach also here. I didn't know, like with the DJ and music theory and all that stuff, like it all applies, like even scratching, it's like quarter notes and like, I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
No, it all intermingles very, like when you change your mindset to go, how are these related? All of a sudden you just start seeing, everything. It's everything's related. I mean, it's
the timing is because like literally, like I had like my sister-in-law was here teaching. We had like the whiteboard and I'm on the flute, like trying to figure out, the do, re, mi, and then it's on the board. I'm like, oh, there it is. And I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. It's like all these little revelations. It's so nice, man.
No, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So you mentioned the students, you know, sometimes their parents just take them and stuff like that. Like some probably lose interest, but how do you, you know, what makes a student truly fall in love with music? And can you tell like a student who's like, oh, this person's going to really.
Most of the time, yes. Most of the time you can just tell like, all right, they like this. And a lot of times it is correlated with the amount of time they practice, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're practicing on their own, that's usually a good sign. Now, there's people that do fall in love with it that don't practice on their own because we're all people, right? I mean, like, right? There's only a few that are truly geared to just automatically practice for the fun of it. But no, I've had kids that are just like, wait, our lesson's over? Can we play more? We can next week. But I love that. Like, I mean, like it's you know, that's the selfish part. It's like when that happens, I'm like, we're doing something good here. I like it's not just me. It's, you know, it's all of it combined. And it's just, so that's always fun. And then you get a couple kids once in a while on the other end of the spectrum that are just like, why am I here? They don't sit up. They kind of like, you know, and I'm like,
it's got to be hard, huh?
Yeah. And so at that point, I'm just like, okay, what this is that particular lesson just turns into basically guided weekly practice versus like, okay, let's play. So, I mean, I've got 2 violin students that have been playing for not even a year, and they're just like, they don't practice tons, but they practice, and they're like, I want to play this song now. I want to play this song now. Can I play this song? You know, and like sometimes I'm like, that's not a good one to start with. Like if somebody goes, I want to play Charlie Daniels, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and they're still working on how to hold the bow right just to make a sound that's clean. Probably not the time. But if you want to play something else that's on the radio, we will find something you can play along with and make you feel like you're part of the band. Because then too, personally, I'm not a huge fan of metronomes because they tell me I'm wrong a lot. I think the metronomes lie. I mean, I still use them as, you know, a decent amount because it is good to play with. But playing with a band, like, or YouTube, whatever you want to call it, is a built-in metronome, right? So it's way more fun to try to play the song with a group of people than it is to play the song by yourself when you hear. You know, I mean, you could do that, but that's kind of like the, you know, 3rd or 4th step along the way. Like once you've gotten to the point where you can play, all right, now we got to figure out how to build that internal metronome to where you can stay pretty close the whole time. And just, you can talk while you do it and not change and not speed up horribly or not slow down horribly. No.
Yeah, that's what the piano was kind of helping me getting that the timing down now, counting the beats and stuff like that. And then there's so much I got to do with the piano. What we started doing like in our compound after my sister-in-law left, I was like, man, because people like I would sit here and then the kid, like one of the kids in our compound would come and she'd be like, you didn't practice, and I could just tell she was kind of getting under her skin. But I'm like, you know, like we want to honor like what she taught. So I make everybody daily. You got to post like your practice videos, clips. So awesome. Like, I feel guilty if I go to bed without like posting all my clips. So, like, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, oh man, I didn't post my guitar because I'm so video. I'm like, get my guitar, post my 2 songs that I got to do, and get on the piano, like get on the flute, and it's like, all right, cool. But it's good because there's like I see like so much growth in that. So that accountability on the general, you know, our group chat. People post. So the kids with their ukuleles, it's so cute. They already memorize it without having to see their sheet.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. No, that's good. Very good.
Yeah. All right. So one last question before let's get into a lesson. But what would you say to a music teacher feeling burned out or struggling today? Because I know your heart is really for the teachers, right? So like
It-
that aspect of it.
Because
It's interesting you started your group not just like I'm going to teach guitar online on Skool. I was like, that's interesting. He's teaching people who are like teaching music. So like that mentor of mentors, I think.
I know growing up, I had some good teachers. I also had one or two that if I never saw again, would be perfectly okay with me. And part of that's personality, right? So like you're not going to, even if the teacher's a really good teacher, I guarantee you, I don't get along with everybody. I feel like I do, but not everybody gets along with me, right? So it's like you have to find a teacher that works for you. But at the same time, as a teacher, if you start to get burnt out, you got to figure out how to kind of change, right? And so that's where I started doing, like I told you, to where I do kind of like traditional kind of teaching for a portion of the lesson. And then the other portion, I go, all right, now what do you want to work on? Because then while they're working on stuff they actually want to work on, one, you can see it. They have way more fun. They smile more. They have more fun. And if they're having more fun, I'm going to have a lot more fun. But then while they're learning what they want to learn, accidentally go, if you move your hand just a little bit more, that'll probably be easier. They have no idea that they're actually relearning all the same stuff they just learned, but now they're doing it for something they want to do, and like realizing that you're not always going to see overnight success with any of your students or all of your students. Once in a while, all of a sudden, like something will click, and within a week, they go from barely playing to all of a sudden just going, "Why didn't you teach me this earlier?" I did for the last 3 months, but you didn't listen. But yeah, it's just doing that. And then I know I don't teach perfectly. I mean, like I'm not the best player. I'm not the best teacher. Do I like to teach? Yes. Do I like to play? Yes. Am I better than a very beginner? Yeah. But there's always going to be somebody better. And admitting that is a huge step for a lot of people, because there's a lot of really phenomenal musicians who probably are near the top of people who can play or teach, but they just feel like they're the best. And that's where you stop learning. So if you stop learning, you probably shouldn't be teaching. Like you need to learn just as much as your students are learning. So like there's been times even now I learn stuff from students and I'm like, wait, what did you just do? And they're like, are we playing a scale? No, not anymore. We're going to figure that out because that was really cool. And so, yeah, finding the joy in those little things and keep learning. That's really the biggest thing. And so it's like, I figure if I can get a hold of other instructors who are doing the same thing or similar things, then it's like, guess what? Together, I mean, we can all learn from each other, and that basically just transcends down to everything else. Because like I said, I've been called for music, and it's definitely music instruction. And so then it's also not only how can I get out what I know and the love of music that I have. The easiest way to do that is just to contact as many people as possible. And the more people I contact, the more people that might actually listen, and then we all kind of work together. So so then if I get a hold of some teachers and we all get a little bit better from each other, then those all lines and basically study families down below the teachers all continue to grow. So
that's good. That's one of the good things about Skool too. You just never know who's going to pop up there. Like, I met so many like people you'd never have access to, and they just come in, and some of them they want to share too. They engage in your community, and it's just a mutual learning. So it's kind of like that, like peer coaching, or you know what I mean? Like people in business where they'll pay like top dollar to like have like peer coaching, like just like going in and with like-minded people. Like they'll pay tens of thousands of dollars to go because one thing they may learn from another guy could save them thousands of dollars in their business or something, right? So it's like
absolutely,
it's amazing. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's do something. So I grabbed a little guitar.
Yeah.
My grandfather is like my grandfather. He never went to church, but he was like he was like poor family, and they lived right across from this this camp, this Christian camp, which was actually called Brayside. That's where I got my name, Brayside. It's like a Bible conference grounds, right?
Okay.
That's where I received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. So Brayside Dove. But he used to always tell me, "Oh, I love listening to Johnny Cash," and he's like, he would like even like before he died. He's like, yeah, I just drive around in my car listening to Johnny Cash. And I never listened to Johnny Cash. But then I started like, I'm like, I want to buy like, what's Johnny Cash? So a black guitar. So I bought a guitar kind of to honor him.
Awesome.
And then I was like, I'll Fly Away is like one of the songs I'm learning for my recital that I'm practicing for my, and when we started listening, we're like, that's a hymn. I'm like, this guy's been rolling around listening to hymns the whole time. Like, but he just like was an amazing guy. Like never never got in arguments with my grandma. All the stuff. It was just like, you know, he lived a life that like reflected the Lord. Yeah. So
no, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so that's actually I learned that song more in the bluegrass style, right? Okay. The I'll Fly Away, but like that song has been made, you know, like it's a full hymnal. It's a full, you know, whatever else. So like I've heard it with just organ, where the organ's just like. Of course, I don't have an organ right now. I have my keyboard back here, but you know, and but then I've heard it, you know. Right, and that's usually step 2. You don't start off.
Mine don't sound nothing like. I don't even know how I'm listening to you, and I'm like, man, when I play, they don't sound nothing like those. Like, I'm like, what the heck?
But but again, like everything else, right? Start off step 1, right?
Yeah,
you know, like you don't start off with everything. You know, now should you try everything once in a while? Absolutely. Yeah. Fail. Do your best to fail at least once a day. Like try stuff way beyond your skill level. Because I do that too. And I fail. I fail all the time. And but the beauty of that is you learn something every time you do that. And it really does make it a little bit better. But actually, if you want, we can work on that song a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I remember when they first like started to like, I was like waiting for a taxi, and my finger felt weird. I was like, what is that? And I'm like, I got a callus. I was all happy. Like, so now if I don't practice, I'm like, I don't want my calluses to go away. I gotta like practice before I go to bed. And I don't want to like leave it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say my left hand is like perma callus. Like they like I don't even know if I can get fingerprints on my left hand because they're just there. My right hand goes back and forth a little bit. Depends if I do a lot more like finger picking. I don't know if you.
But you don't use a pick, do you? You don't
I go back. I go back and forth.
I didn't see it.
Well, this is the pick I have, and it's clear.
Yeah.
So, but no, I go back and forth. I do my best to do a lot of finger picking, just because then that lends itself to kind of like. So it lends itself
Can
to
you
kind
put
of
your camera down a little bit because I can't see your full.
Yeah.
I want to see the guitar. Let
me see if that. And if not, I'll just stand up. I mean, really. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, I tend to use those 3 in my thumb. But like let's see, like
so many levels to it.
Yeah, I mean, like you can, or like one that I've been working on. I don't know if you know a guy named Tommy Emmanuel.
No.
If you don't, look up Tommy Emmanuel on YouTube when you got a good hour to waste. Because once you watch one video, you're going to watch more.
Sure.
But I try to emulate him, and it works, but it doesn't really work. It's going to take a couple more years. But he has this bit where he's like, I'm a one-man band. I got my bass player. that's great. But then I also need a chord guy. But then every now and then I need somebody to play lead. And he goes through that whole thing, but he plays it way better than I do. And but either way, attempting and failing. I keep failing at it, but I keep getting a little bit better every time. So being able to just get anything, whether it's one finger, two fingers. And when you're playing a chord, the nice thing is, no matter what strings I pluck with whatever fingers, it sounds good.
That's how it sounds, all like not just a plot, you know what I mean? Because when you're playing, I'm like, wait, how's that?
Because I'm not changing up here at all. So it's like
it's like carries on. I don't know what's the term for it. It's almost like a melody. How it's like
So it's, and then like if you just randomly pick, it'll just right. But then eventually your thumb starts to kind of pick a consistent pattern. So then all of a sudden you get kind of your own built-in patterns, your personal patterns, but then it just resonates. And then all of a sudden you get a different finger to all of a sudden be separate and independent. And that's where you can start to but then that thumb, this is the vein of my existence. That thumb has got to be completely independent.
Yeah.
That's the only way around it. It's not easy. I've been working on this for 20 years, to get that thumb steady. So actually real quick while we're there, if you play an E chord, play an E chord.
Yeah. With my thumb, they'll pluck with my thumb, right?
Yeah. So then once you have that E chord, your thumb, if you just stay on the three strings that are closest up here, the deepest strings, and just first step, just play the low E. And just play that low E.
The low E is what? The third string down? The middle string or not?
This one right here, the string closest to your face.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. You can just play that over and over. And then like, say you're online or you got to check your email. Try using the mouse with your left hand and just keep this thing going. Right?
I did that the one day. I was like, because, doing my practice, but I was listening to some beats or whatever. And I'm like, just jamming out, just like, not caring about sounds, but I was like, hey, it's actually fun, Like,
and that's how you. I mean, and then once you don't start fast either, right? And then while you got that chord shape steady on that E chord, then thumb and just I usually try everybody to start with three fingers. Whether or not you end up using all three eventually, not a big deal. But then thumb, and then just try to grab three strings all at the same time. And it doesn't matter which three.
With your three fingers?
Yeah. So then just find three strings, one string per finger. To where then you can do.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can do like thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers. And at first, getting three strings with three fingers at one time is not going to be the simplest thing to do.
Different strings.
Yeah. Every finger gets its own string.
Doesn't matter which string it is?
Nope, because we're not changing chords. Yeah. And then you just... And this is where you can use a metronome if you want to, or you just keep going thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers.
Do you usually tap your foot for like to keep the beat or anything, or?
At the very beginning, just getting this done, because I also like to think when I teach, I do simple and complicated at the same time. So right now, your left hand holding that chord, simple. You don't have to think about that. If you tap your foot, you can, but you have to think about that. So right now, your only thought is thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers. You know, and just keep that going to where then it feels comfortable. And then can you do it with your eyes closed? Yeah. It's weird with your eyes closed, isn't it?
It never is. But it takes you into that place where it's like,
yeah,
I'm here with you, Lord. Let's go. I want to worship you, Lord.
Yes. And and so musically, the only thing you're thinking is thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, over and over. And just do that for like 2-3 minutes. Don't worry about changing anything else. Right? And then you can it's kind of like the crawling, walking, running theory. This is crawling. This is where you start. Because you got to just get that function of those fingers and thumb alternating. The next step would probably be your fingers get to pluck twice, while your thumb only plucks once. So your thumb, like how we're doing right now, we're alternating. So like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now, I would say the next step would be we're going to do the thumb and fingers together, and then the fingers. So it'll be
That's how you get it carrying on that, huh?
Yeah. And getting those 3 fingers to just kind of pluck 3 strings at one time, that takes time, right? But once you get that, because then those fingers just keep going on their own, and then you can eventually do other rhythms. You know, so you can do like 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, and then you could change the rhythm, and basically you play games. You play games with your rhythm on that way to get those functioning. And that's the start of what I would call kind of like that.
Yeah, it's so different than.
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't stop. It just keeps carrying.
Right. And it gives you options, right? Now, it doesn't mean you need to do that. Let's see. And it's also fun, like in lesson time, how not to give too much information at one time, right? Because then, like if they show any type of like, oh, they get that immediately, I'm like, okay, here's 15 other things you can do. Stop.
Yeah.
Here's the next step, right? And because then I know a lot of times I will use my pick, and then I will hold my pick like this, so I can go back and forth between like. So then I use my pick as my thumb, but it takes 2 fingers. So that's the disadvantage. That means you got to have these 2 fingers independent. So but then you go back to playing the same game, right? So then you go back, pick a chord, it doesn't matter what chord, and then pick, finger, and that's going to feel really awkward.
It's I had to put tape on my pick because I kept slipping out. So I like put some tape because I'd be like stopping in the middle. I don't know.
I know what one of my favorite, and I don't have it on this one, but I'll take a little piece of sandpaper with a little dab of glue and
Yeah.
put just a little piece of sandpaper on there, because then
Yeah.
that's not going anywhere.
I
Yeah.
put like that.
Yeah,
So I'm
no,
not the only one that it just like slips out. You're like in the middle of the thing and
Yeah.
ripping your pick.
no. And I've also seen sometimes people will punch a hole right there,
Okay.
so that
Okay.
when you grab it, your skin is touching through that hole. That gives you a little bit better grip. So yeah, like everything else, there's always options. You know. And I've also seen like really, really thick picks, like that are crazy thick, like an inch thick. So it just depends how you grab, how you hold, and what kind of
Isn't
music
it
you're
like
playing.
you're supposed to start with like the thinnest one or something, and then gradually you get into the thicker ones, or is there no? Or like, what do you recommend with students?
I would say for the average person, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
I would recommend a little bit more, at least as long as it's flexible. Don't go with a heavy, because I tend to use a pretty heavy pick. I use a 2 millimeter pick. I would start
Yeah.
off around that 0.5, 0.7. They're definitely flexible. The advantage to that is when you go to strum, if you have a really stiff pick and you try to strum really hard and you don't know what you're doing, as well, it's just because you've just started, right? You can really like pull on those strings. They're already under enough pressure. They don't need to be hit weird. But then eventually, once you practice enough, then it's just personal preference. It really is just personal preference at that point. So, yeah,
I went this. I got 5 different sizes, and then there was one really thin, but I got the one after it. So it's
yeah. Now
still,
the really thin ones. Let's see. This one, like, I mean, I can like bend tremendously. I'll use this one when I want to go for speed. So if I'm trying to do, if you've ever watched like Celtic fiddlers that play the fiddle for Celtic music, they're guitar players and the banjo players, they strum, but they strum super fast. So like, but they do it way better than that. They do it in rhythm. Because they do a lot of triplets. So like, but with that, I have to use a thin pick because otherwise I'd break my strings. And but I'm not much of a speed guy. I like to pretend that I might be, but I'm just a good. You need somebody to play guitar and play. Yeah. Well,
I remember like I was tightening my string the one day, and I was tightening the wrong one right after I got my guitar, and it snapped my string. I was so sad. I was like, oh no! Like then I'd like use like this electric guitar, but it wasn't the same thing. And then I went, and then I had to figure out how to like restring it and stuff like that. But I got it figured out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Sucks.
All right, so that is part of getting, like, you know, like I said, kind of, I like a simple and a complicated. So whatever we're doing, if the right hand's working, I want the left hand to not be working very hard. If the left hand's working, I want the right hand not working hard. That just, it works really well for my brain, and I've had pretty good success with it with a lot of my students, being able to do that. And so now getting back to that song, I'll Fly Away. Yeah. So here's the nice thing. If you pick the right key to learn in, you don't have to work as much.
It's C.
So you have it in C?
Yeah, it's C. And then C7.
How are you at playing the F chord?
The F I do like I play it.
Okay.
Where I just do the 2.
Okay.
Because it was like super hard to like we were doing it all weird, but now I do the 2 and then just like can just go up to the C quickly. Like,
good. Because a lot of times that F chord is tough for people, and the full bar not really necessary unless you're wanting to kind of play your bass line, chords, and melody all at the same time. Then it helps because then you have a bass note, but you don't need that. Okay, so if we're gonna play in the key of C, let's see. Key of C would be my second choice actually for that song. Not for singing. It depends on the singer, right? But for learning the melody, the key of G is easier.
Okay.
But then that also means you have to learn the patterns a little bit different. But so
What happened?
oh yeah, there I am. That's okay. Okay, so
like I'm
so
learning another song that I'm doing is in the key of G. How great is our God? But my my hardest one is the D. Like that, I'm getting better at it, but that one is like killing me. Where I have to like flip over to the D and then.
I wish I had a. No, you're fine. I wish I had a magic trick for the key of D. I mean, or the chord D. There's no magic trick. You just have to do it.
The repetition, man, putting in the reps, right? Like it's like in the gym.
Now the only actual advantage is for the key of D. You can see that there, I think. If you ignore the highest string, so that E, if you ignore that and you just play the second fret on the G and the third fret on the B, and you make this finger here, that ring finger, lazy is what I call it, to where it lays down on that high string. Because then, like, if I try to play my E string right now, but if I lift my finger up, it rings. But if I just lay it down, it doesn't ring. Which means if I strum my D chord, all I have is a D, A, D. I don't have that high. But lazily wise, that means I only have to put 2 fingers down for that D chord.
Oh yeah.
And it still gives the same function. So like in the key of G, you got your G. So that's about the only way is just kind of omitting one of the strings. And you don't have to change your strumming. It just mutes that high string. So it's only 2 fingers you have to worry about. And I guess the other question is, how do you play your G chord?
My G chord like this. You see that?
Yeah. Okay. So how about this? Change your G chord from 3 fingers. Move your pinky where your ring finger goes, and move your ring finger over to the B string. So you have your, on the high side here, you have 3 and 3, so third fret, and then you still play your G over here with your middle finger goes all the way over to, that's the shape. So as long as you're on the right strings, and then play that.
Really?
You might be on the.
Am I on the wrong strings there? I don't know.
Your ring finger needs to be on the B string. So your ring finger and pinky are best friends.
Oh yeah. Okay. They're
right. So they're each on their own string. Yeah, they're each on their own string, but they're both on the 3rd fret.
Right. The 2 bottom strings, is it?
Yeah. Because now that ring finger is already in position to switch over to the D. And you don't have to move your ring finger.
Oh yeah,
so your ring finger can stay there. And that takes a little bit of practice, but then it stays.
That's nice. See those tricks now?
Yeah. Now you said because you're learning you're learning the key of G for how great thou art.
Yeah.
Right?
How great is our God, and then how great thou art at the end.
Okay.
So I'm doing 2 songs. I'm doing that song, and then I'm doing the I'll Fly Away.
So then here's what I would also say with those fingers up on those 2 high strings like that. I call them the high strings because they're higher pitch, but they're actually lower to the ground. So however you want to, right? However you want to do it. But you can literally leave those two fingers there for the entire key of G. They never actually have to move if you want to. So then, because of what that does is I can play G, and then I move these two fingers over a string, and that's a C chord.
Wait, what?
And then D.
My C's like.
My
C's all over here.
I know. So we're gonna modify your C.
All right. Let's do it.
Because
there's when we were doing the I'll Fly Away and we like got off, like it was like came so much easier when we were able to just like
yeah. So like a lot of things, there are 20 different ways to play every single chord on the guitar.
That's why when I was looking at YouTube, I was like, oh man, that's like confusing because there's like everybody else does the thing. So it's kind of like,
Yeah. And there are ways, like once you get to where you can play what I call the cowboy chords, like all the open chords, like E, A, C, G, D. Once you can play those 5 chords, then we can move those shapes anywhere we want to on the guitar. So instead of going, well, I got to memorize every single little thing, it helps, but it's not necessary. So you can move those shapes, like say that D shape, that's a G chord, A, F sharp, E, D. I didn't do anything with my fingers except slide them in different places. And if I come back up here, it's a D chord again. So, but that's a different time, a different lesson, right? But understanding, again, the good foundation of just those chords gives you the ability, with a little bit of practice, to move those chords all the way around, and you can play them anywhere. But back to the G, the key of G.
Because I thought Johnny Cash was playing his guitar like this or something. I was like, what the heck? When I watched him actually playing his song or something.
So a lot of times Johnny Cash held his guitar like this, right? Because he didn't wear a strap half the time. So he had to hold the guitar up like this. So he and that's like Johnny Cash in a nutshell.
Yo, I'm inspired, bro. I'm inspired to see where the road can go. That's good.
In a lot of this, especially with adults, I'm like, look, here's the thing. I don't need to teach you individual songs. You don't need to learn individual songs. It helps if you want to play an exact line, then you need to learn that song. But if you learn the tools to play or to be able to functionally play what you want to hear, it's kind of like I can give a man a fish for a meal, or I can teach the man to fish, right? So if you learn how to interpret the skills with the tools of just learning different things, or even just having your hand, like being able to just palm mute, which is a weird skill, but then once you get it, because then I essentially have a drum set. Right? But being able to do that and have different sets of tools, you can then go, oh, this is what they're doing here now because I've done that tool. I just don't know what the notes are. I got to figure out the notes. Okay, we can figure out the notes, and do that. So learning those different tools, especially with adults, usually way more successful. Because then you can just go, hey, wait, does that mean on this song they do this? Yeah. So it's literally the exact same tool, different songs, or they'll put different effects on their guitar. Because like if I went, right? I mean, that sounds cool, but on an electric with distortion, it sounds awesome. Right? Yeah. But so it's like you can do different things the same way on different instruments and get different feels, but yeah, I'm not going to get too distracted. I do get distracted. It's okay.
But it's good, man. It's all good. Like for me, I want to play like I like rap music. I grew up listening to rap music. Then I got saved.
Oh.
Listening to Christian rap music. So I want to be able to play it, like, because when I started getting into producing last year, like, and I'm like, I don't want to just use a VST and put, like,
yeah,
I want to actually be able to play the
so
chords.
so the nice thing is about a lot of rap music, because I, like everybody else, I went through a good rap phase myself. But a lot of rap uses a very shortened version of any song, right? So they just repeat it over and over because it's not about the music, it's about what you're rapping about.
Yeah.
So like a lot of like, yeah, you'd be like, and like you can just start that and do that over and over, and like it doesn't matter the progression to a point. I mean, like every song has its own little click, but what that does is you can set up your own. And whatever it is, pick 3 or 4 chords and just do them over and over. Change how you strum them, how you pluck them. And that's how a lot of songs, and I think I'm sure you're more than aware, but a lot of rap songs just sample songs that they've heard before, and they'll put them in the background. So you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time, right? Even if you're doing original stuff, because you're doing your version of all that. So real quick, I do want to finish the key of G chords because I think you'll like this, and play with it as much as you can, and I think you'll understand how you can do some of this. So that G chord, having those 2 fingers on those 2 strings, and then the 3rd fret in that. Yeah, that looks perfect. So when you play that, it's a regular chord, right? And then you take these 2 fingers on the 2 lowest pitched strings, just move them that direction 1 string.
Move them.
So from here to here.
Oh,
so your pinky and your ring finger don't change.
Like that.
So now those are a C chord, right? Now here's even more.
That's the C chord?
Yeah. And it should. So
is that right? I have the 3 fingers in the fret in the 3rd fret. There's 3 fingers. Is that right?
Yes. You'll have 3 fingers on the 3rd fret. So it should just have. It should be a C chord, but it'll have that. It'll have a D in there. But it's a pretty D. If that makes any sense. And then for your D chord, again, those 2 fingers are going to stay the entire time for all of these chords. You put your first finger right there.
Put my first finger where?
Can you see that?
This one, the middle finger comes off?
Well, I usually have it up here, but I'm trying to just make it easier to see.
Yeah.
So again, these fingers don't change at all. They literally live there.
Okay, so now I don't need to bring that middle finger down to the bottom string anymore.
No. I just had it up, so it's out of the way.
Yeah.
But yes. So now this is actually a suspended chord, so it's not a true D chord, but it's in the key of G. It works really well, and what this means is you don't have to move those 2 fingers.
And then the second finger is what you said comes down to the.
Yes.
Right?
And then you just play like you're playing a regular D chord. So you play those 4 strings.
You play the 4 bottom strings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I haven't even got into that far into separating the strings. Yeah, I got it.
No, that's okay, because again, this will give you something easy to practice to separate all those. But then you can also.
But what are you doing with the middle finger? Sorry, with the middle finger, I'm not putting it anywhere?
It's just floating.
Oh, yeah,
floating. It's getting ready for the next step.
So much easier. That's so much easier, man.
So yeah. And then you can also, do you know how to play your E minor chord?
Yeah, this one, right?
Okay, so keep those 2 fingers there, but then play your E minor chord. Your fingers are going to stretch.
Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. It looks right. Yeah. So the whole key of G, you can do your G, your C, D, E minor.
What? I just like simplified everything, man. Cause like literally the D, I'd be like,
Yeah.
and then because the D comes up at the end, it's like the D at the end. I'm like, well, why do you put the D at the end? And then like right before you go, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'd be questioning my like, why? What do you got to do it there? Like, how am I supposed to get the D in like at the end of the thing?
Yeah. So yeah, and like every key on the guitar, or group of chords, whatever group you play with, all have variations you can do. Right? So like even like
Lost you again. Hold on.
So even in the key of G, here's another option, because you can play your C chord really well, right?
Yeah.
So here's your other option for a D chord. So as you play your G, right, your C, if you move your C up 2 frets, so G, C, D. Now you're going to have those 2 open strings that sound weird with the C chord, but they're pretty notes. So now go ahead and take your pinky and your ring finger off.
Yeah.
And just play your G like normal.
Yeah.
Like however you normally play G.
Yeah.
Okay. And now play your C like normal.
Normally I would go all the way over here for C.
Yep. So do that for C. Now slide that C chord up 2 frets and play the same strings.
Like that.
Yeah. Make sure you go all the way up. Make sure you go all the way up 2 frets.
Oh, 2 frets with the pin. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everything go up 2 frets.
Oh,
now that's got 2 what I call funky notes. But unless you're going to live on that D chord for a long time, because most of the time you resolve right back to a G or a C. So you can go
in there like
real quick. So it's like G. So that 2 fret, right there. So there's a big fancy name for that D chord. Not important what the name is, because it sounds pretty in the key of G. Now, if you tried to play that in the key of D, that would not be as pretty. So all these kind of ornamental chords have their place and purpose. So now that chord,
I'm still not getting the slide. I don't like.
Well, it takes some time.
If it was 3 here, right?
Yep.
And then when I'm sliding it for 2 frets, that's becoming what?
A D chord. That's now your D chord.
That's actually okay.
Right?
Okay. I don't know.
Now it'll sound weird. Yes, and it is different.
I don't even know the sounds, bro. I'm like brand new. I can't even tell the different that's like
But then when you play that D chord, what is important, the only thing that's important is to not play your low E. Don't play that low E at that point.
Oh, because that's the one you usually get pressed it down, right?
Because that it creates a dissonance. It creates a dissonance, and you don't want. You already got other dissonance going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Yeah. And again, options, right? So you can play the D where your fingers are together. Or you can do the same idea, just a little bit of a different color, so to speak. And then it's also, what can you functionally do easier? Right? So we start with, what can you actually do right now with almost no practice? Let's start there. And then again, different tools in your toolbox. So depending on the song, some songs, that's not going to work well. It's just not going to sound right. But this does sound right. And then it gives you options. And because eventually, and what really is fun is when they don't have to be professional musicians. They don't have to be stellar musicians. But at some point when you're playing with somebody, the music itself is a full conversation. I mean, like, it's because, like, if you're playing with somebody, you're just playing a song, you're playing the same song, and somebody goes, from like playing the nice open full chords, right? Which is beautiful, and you can sing together. And then all of a sudden they go, and they start, it changes the feel of the song. It's the exact same chords. The tempo hasn't changed, but it's like when the drummer all of a sudden goes and just like settles down. Everybody's like, I'm listening, right? Mm-hmm. And so you can do the same thing with the guitar when you play. And so, like, if you're just playing with somebody, all of a sudden somebody does that, the other person goes, oh, I got to back down, right? And you.
Keep losing you for some reason.
It'll come back. There we are. But there's musicians I've played with off and on for 10 years. I have no idea what their names are. I have no idea. Oh, yeah. But I can tell you they play guitar and they play fiddle, or they do this, that. They're right-handed, left-handed, and I know how they play. Because that's how we converse. So we go to like open jam sessions or whatever. And so, like, we know each other. Like, he'll be like, hey, how's the dobro today? Hey, how's this? Going pretty well. Yourself? I don't think he has any idea what my name is either. But we can play together, and that's how we communicate. And it's a ball. So
that's the next level.
Yeah. And that's because it is. Music is its own language. So then really, and that's kind of my other like pseudo approach to music is basically, look, it's a language. This E string and this E string, other than being high and low, are the exact same thing. So if you play the 5th fret on this E string, it's the same as the 5th fret on this E string. So if you have any other E string on any other instrument, the 5th fret position is the same note. Every E string is the same. They're different, but they're the same.
So it gets, if you know one, it's easier to learn the next string instrument.
Yes, and that's
so
where
violin won't be too difficult.
The simple answer is no. The complicated answer is, if you've never played that style of instrument, getting used to having something on your shoulder, different. Once you get used to that, not bad. If you're used to strumming, which you play guitar, right? Now you got to get used to bowing. But then once you kind of get that function, then it really is. It still takes
I know what you're
time.
saying, because even with the flute, like when I first started doing the flute, I was like, I feel like I just like went to the gym and just got jacked up. Like I was like, literally getting an exercise just from flute. But then I was all like, try here, and then somebody's like, no, you got to like relax a bit.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's,
I was overdoing it, right? But
and it's not like it's a 300-pound flute, right? Yeah. I mean, like it's a flute. But so that just the pure function of each thing is for me is the hardest thing, because that takes time no matter what, even if you understand what you need to do. Because then even with like the violin, it's fretless, right? There's no frets. So when you play a note, you determine if it's flat or sharp. So if it's in pitch or not in pitch, that means it's all on you. So then there's ways we can go around that, whether we write pencil lines on the fingerboard, or whether we even put, like, I have really thin automotive, like electrical tape that doesn't leave any residue, and put tape on there. So then when you put your first finger down, it's on that tape. You're in the right spot. So there's many different ways to go about that to make that transition easier. Or if you've never even played anything and you're just like, I just want to start on this instrument and then I want to play more. So yeah, I mean, like but an E string is an E string is an E string. Now that's simple. Simple is not always easy, right?
What's your favorite instrument to play and to teach?
Oh, somebody asked me this question the other day, and I want to take the easy route and say, I love all my children. But honestly, I probably spend most time on guitar, and my violin is actually a 5-string viola, which is basically a violin and a viola all in one instrument. But those are the two I spend probably the most of the time with. And because then I can translate, if I learn something new on guitar, I can put it right over to dobro or banjo. If I learn something new on the violin, I can transfer it over to cello or mandolin. And because those are all related. Yeah.
What do you think about the cello? I just met a girl who has a school group playing the cello. And she's like, oh, I'm a professional at both, but I love the cello more. What do you think about that?
The cello's fun. The cello's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's because that is one of those instruments that is because all these, like the violin family, right? You have violin, viola, cello, and bass. The violin is like the soprano in a choir. The viola is like an alto. The cello is like the tenor, and then the bass is obviously the bass, right? But the difference is that bass is actually a double bass. It's like when you read the notes on the page, if you read notes, you're actually playing an octave below what's written. The cello is literally like an actual man's voice because it's got the low range, that low C is down deep. And then the A, you can go up into violin range on top of it if you get in position and play high. But that cello sounds beautiful with a guitar. I've played in more than one duo where I'm playing cello and there's a singer-songwriter playing guitar, and it's absolutely beautiful. Cello is very versatile. I would say pretty much the whole violin family, you can go between almost any genre and play. And that's always been nice too, because like I said, I kind of have musical ADD. So I go through little phases. Like I'm like, no, today I'm doing Celtic music. I need this. Or tomorrow I'm going to do, I don't even know, whatever. But then
your list of instruments.
Just
what was the one at the end? It's got a funny name that you're like, play all these strings and then what's the other one?
Like
two words or something. I forget what it is.
Did I just say, or was this one of our communications?
It was one in. I think it's in like, I don't know. I seen it maybe in bios or something like that.
Well,
dobro or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So do you know what a dobro is?
No.
All right, here. Hold on. We'll do show and tell here real quick.
Yeah, go over it.
Yeah. So on your guitar, your strings.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
But you see how high those strings are? Look, I can fit my finger underneath those strings. So those strings don't actually get fretted. They don't get pushed down to the fingerboard. They actually... You have to use a slide. So a big
it's got like a rim on it, no? It looks like a rim, a tire rim on there.
So then this is a metal resonator. So like on the guitar, where the strings sit on the saddle and that, transfer that vibrations into the wood to produce the sound on your guitar. This is a metal cone, like an upside down bowl, basically. And those strings sit on there. And then what you do is you get a little bit of a different tonal quality, but then the bar, because you don't fret chords.
That's like the Wild Wild West, no?
Yeah. So
the Wild Wild West.
it lends itself to bluegrass. It's in bluegrass a lot. So like, so you can do that, but it also I like pretending I'm a blues musician. I'm not a blues musician, but I like. But that's one of those.
Good sound, for sure.
It is. It's fun to have
It's
that.
like it's weird how like you're bending it. You know what I mean? It's like this bend.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I mean, so like.
Yeah,
like these originally started actually in Hawaii. And so like you would hear them like
I
in
wore my
luau's.
Hawaii short.
And they would do a lot of their solos, and it'd have a lot of the. It's like really wide vibrato is what it is with the slide. So, but yeah, nice. one of the many fun toys. But like I said, I've got a list of 5 or 10 that I still want to get at some point. Just different instruments that are like very niche and very not highly demanded. But I want to be the guy that has all the weird things at this point. For sure. Because I've got all the standard stuff.
Yeah, because that's like the flute. I was like, not many people can play a flute. So also the wind instrument. Like, actually, I bought like a flute like 25 years ago when I started doing martial arts. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna play the flute, help breathing. Never did anything with it. Then last year, I was like going through a season, like didn't have any money to leave the house. I was like, man, I gotta just use what's in my hands. I was like, oh, that flute, I got it restored like for dirt cheap here. It was like, $70 or something. I get it all restored up. So start doing it. But the guitar is awesome. But yeah, I like it. I like having the unique thing, like you said. Thing you pull out, go, what's that? Because you can get a guitarist, right? Like if you're looking for a guitarist, many people can play. But having I like that unique, that rare. Show me some of the other stuff, man. While we're here.
All right, let's see what we have here.
That's awesome, man. You got the whole collection.
I did not bring my banjo up here. My pseudo studio is upstairs. But so this is a mandolin, and
it's like a high pitch.
So now the mandolin, the olin, sounds just like violin for good reason. They're virtually the exact same instrument. The strings on the mandolin, G, D, A, E, they're tuned in fifths. So it's a different pattern than the guitar, which is tuned in fourths. So it just means that the spacing of the strings on the guitar are a little closer. This spacing is a little farther apart.
Okay.
So the patterns are different. It's like this is my G chord, that's my D, C, which do not correlate to the guitar at all. So that again, those are the two main families. But this has a flat bridge like a guitar. So it lends itself, if you got an instrument with a flat bridge, it's more of a chordal instrument. So it's made more for chords. So like guitar and mandolin, anything that's got a flat bridge, is better suited for playing chords. But you can still play. You can still play melody and play individual notes. It's just a little more, you have to work a little bit more. On the violin family, like the violin, violoncello, those bridges are curved. Easier to play individual notes, but you can still play chords. So, but this is exactly like a violin. So everything I do on here right? That's Bach. Do I need to play Bach on a mandolin? No. Can I? Yeah, a little bit.
Where's the
Right?
mandolin from? It sounds more like Asian. Like it sounds like.
Originally, I think it was more in Italy. Actually, I think originally it was more in the Italy sector of Europe, and so there's just like the violin family: violin, viola, cello, bass. There is mandolin. There is mandola, which is the viola, so it's a little bit lower. You have a mandocello. You have two versions. You have mandocello and octave mandolin. So mandocello, and again, this gets into technicalities. They're all tuned the same spacing, so the patterns all work. They're just different chords. But the mandocello is tuned just like a cello, but played just like this. So it's a bigger instrument. I mean, it's out to here, but it's got that low, so it's lower than a guitar. Or an octave mandolin, they'll tune it exactly like this, but take it all down an octave. So you literally don't have to learn anything new, except your fingers have to spread out more. So it's just ease of use is what it comes down to. So, but yeah. That's the mandolin. So then
it's got a thin neck, huh?
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and for its size, I mean, it's tiny. This thing is louder than the average guitar.
Like it sounds like a loud, like a high pitched thing. Right?
Yeah. And it
got an inch.
You know, I don't know why you play up here, but because of the pitch and the volume of it, it can carry over quite a bit.
It kind of reminds me of like a Chinese market or something. Like you hear that?
No, and it's very similar. So I know one of the instruments I want to get that's on my list is a dulcimer, and that is definitely like the American version of a lot of that. So then
what?
So this is my viola / violin, but if you see, there's 5 strings. Normally there's only 4. So the violin and viola share 3 strings. So these middle 3 on this instrument, on this side, violin, on this side, viola. So what that means is when I go to teach, I only have to have one instrument. So I can go from a violin lesson to a viola lesson. I don't change my instrument. And then you know how I was telling you about like the bridges? Of course, now my shirt's white, so it's hard to see contrast. But that bridge is curved. So then it's really easy to play one string at a time. So, it's got all the way from down there. I mean, there's a lot of... But then I can play 2 strings at once. Now, if I wanted to play more than 2 strings, I either have to get a different style bow, right? Because a guitar, you can play 6 strings at once, easy. Yeah. If I want to play more than 2, I almost have to do like a roll. So like a... So I can't really play more. So the violin family, so the violin, viola, cello, and bass are all geared more towards melody and being able to do that. You can still play chords, but that's why you have orchestras and why you have so many orchestras, because then you have this group playing this note, this note, this note, this note, and then that forms the chord. Or you can play guitar and play almost all of it at once. So yeah, so that in a nutshell is, other than
I saw this guy playing to like modern like trap beats or whatever.
Yeah,
the violin. It was just like classical infusion with as like, but it was so good. He's like doing these concerts, but he's just up there. I'm like, I was like, this is good. There's like literally a couple months where I just listened to there's like no lyrics, just listen to these like fusions of classical music with the trap beats, but that violin is just like, I just love it. You didn't even need words.
Yeah, no, I've got I just recently bought a pickup for this, and so I can plug it in, which means all my guitar pedals and all that, I can plug this in. I can have distortion violin, reverb, whatever else I have. And
Yeah, right.
so, yeah.
What about
So, yeah.
electric violins? Have you tried
So
electric
I
violins or what?
I had a,
violin?
yeah, I mean, like you can get them. And I had a cheap one a few years ago, what I would call a violin-like object. It was not very good. The electronics, I mean, like I got it for $30. The fact that I even got it for $30, maybe probably should have told me it wasn't going to sound at all what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But with enough pedals with EQ and compression and that, I mean, if it's got an electronic source, it's going to take more work if you have a cheaper instrument, but you can get it to still sound good. And but then what that does is it lends itself again to any of that, like the trap music, dance music, or if you're just out and about and you just want a good solid reverb. So instead of the instrument doing its own natural reverb just because of resonating, then yeah, you can plug it in and you can have a whole lot of fun. You can play easy, soft music. You can I mean, you can play jazz, you can
Like the
play
honky
funk.
tonk.
Yeah, I mean, like you can just,
That's I like that right there.
yeah. And so it just depends what's playing with it, what you're really going to get and what you're going to see. So yeah, I mean, again, music.
I love it, man. So
Music.
encouraging.
So yeah, and it's but no, you're on the right track, man. You're getting stuff going, and yeah. The encouragement is one of the biggest things, honestly. People, especially at the beginning, they feel some encouragement. They're ready to just go play. They're just ready to go play.
Yeah,
So
I mean, when I had like a flute lesson in Thailand. I was doing a conference there, a big forum, and I was like, just looked what's around in the surroundings, and there's somebody who teaches flute like right next door, because there's no flute teacher in where I live in the southern Philippines. So I like went and got a lesson, but then we were kind of rushed. He's trying to show me something. I was like, man, I don't even think I could. Like, I kind of like left there kind of discouraged and didn't even touch it, because it's like, man, I can't get it like that. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
But then I met some guy on Instagram. He's like, oh, how long have you been playing the flute? Oh, I just want to teach you. He's like self-taught or whatever. And like we had like a live like this, just doing the flute. But
Awesome.
It was good, man. We just got to hang out like this. He showed me some things, but because he's like, yeah, I just remember myself and you, like, how hard it was at the beginning. But you take that and you know what I mean? And then I practice it, and I couldn't believe it, like, I'm actually making like, so it's good, man. Like, yeah, just
fabulous.
Like what we did here. It's like, okay, now I know, like, it kind of opens the mind up more. Don't just get stuck into one little thing, but like, what's the next thing and what's the potential,
Yeah. No.
Sure.
And like I said, learning the tools go much further and have much more fun than just learning an individual song. Now, with that said, it's still important to learn individual songs, right? That's still part of it. But if you learn to play a G chord, but you can play it 2 or 3 different ways, learn to play an E minor 2 or 3 different ways. Start off with one, right? Get foundation. But then eventually all those chords, and then you break into all the little weird stuff like the minor 7s, the major 9s, the 13 chords, and that gets into some weird jazz stuff usually, is where they have all those chords. But they're a lot of fun. And if you can throw those in once in a while, somebody's like, I don't know what that was, but do it again. Do it again. That was good. And they don't need to know. And you don't even need to know what it was called. But if you learn kind of those forms, it's transferable.
Yeah.
So
well, even just like the picking the strings out, because I didn't know what's better, like, because I just got used to using the pick, but it's good to also,
yeah, and it's good to do both. It really is good to do both. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, so he just actually keeps going. That's good. It's nice.
Yeah.
Very good, man. Yeah, it's been amazing. I hope that we have more opportunities for this as well. So people, if they want to find you, definitely, I encourage people to tap in on the Skool group. I know you're getting that started. There's gonna be a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
if somebody practices, like, what do you usually encourage your students? How often do you think you suggest that they should practice?
Some of it's dependent on age, right? Like if they're younger,
Yeah.
try and get 10 minutes of practice a day. Or if you're like,
Yeah.
I want to do more, don't do a half hour. Do 3 10-minute segments. Now, the trick is when you actually start the clock, because getting your instrument out and getting it tuned does not count for those 10 minutes, right? So you got to take 3-4 minutes, get it out, get it tuned, you're ready. Start the clock, 10 minutes. And for that 10 minutes, you do nothing but work. Whether it is just strumming, whether it is playing a scale, whether it's not playing a scale, whether it's trying to work on one song, 10 minutes. And then put it down. Don't do any more. And then if you're going to do more than 10 minutes a day, right, then keep your instrument out if you can, if it doesn't hurt anything, and then come back for another 10 minutes in like an hour or whenever you just have a 10-minute lull, instead of, scrolling on stuff, pick up the instrument for 10 minutes. So the short 3 10-minute segments is worth more than a half hour.
Yeah, because sometimes if I'm like, I got to like spend an hour, and it's like, oh man, I don't have an hour right now, so you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
But if you just get it out, that's good.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
If you practice a song, how many times do you think you should practice a song? Like, what would you recommend?
If you're practicing a song to just practice a song, I would say just do it until you almost get sick of it. But if you're doing it for a performance, then you got to almost practice 2 different ways, right? So like if you've got a section in a song where you're like, this just isn't working, then you practice that like 10-second section over and over to where you get that as good as possible. That's like practice. It's not performance practice. But then you also want to go, okay, I'm going to start this song and I'm going to play all the way through it. Even if I mess up, I don't care if I mess up horribly, I'm going to play to the end. Even if that means I almost have to start over in the middle and just stop and then go to the next step. I'm just going to keep playing like it's an actual performance. Because if you never practice like that, when you go to place, like say it's for church, then all of a sudden you'll just be playing and you're like, oh wait, there's people here. Okay, I gotta start back up again.
Oh no,
wait,
Yeah, so I see the kids do that. They're like, oh
yeah. So then learning how to deal with messing up, right? So that's where the performance practice happens, where you play it. I don't care if you mess up, you just keep playing. You find something to play. I don't care if it sounds horrible. Start, finish. That's what you're gonna do, right? Now you don't want to do that all the time because you have to work on stuff. But then like if you are going to play to where you almost have it memorized, that's usually a good place or a gauge to go, I'm ready to perform it. Now with that said, do we always have time to be able to do that? No. But that would be my suggested goal, is to practice until you almost have it memorized. And that's usually a good place because then your brain can kind of shut off and worry about what's actually happening. Because especially for church, if you get up to play a song and the whole time, because you're leading worship, right? You're not up there for a performance. You're there for worship. So if you're going C, F, A minor, and because then your brain tunes other stuff out. So if you get to the point where you're really close to having memorized, or you only need that as reference, the chords, okay, then you can actually worship with worship that you're leading. And that's the ultimate goal. I mean, to where this is just an expression of your worship. It's not, hey, look at me, I can play. The whole point of this is to play for that worship. Help others in their worship and help you in your worship. You get to worship while you play too. So practicing enough to get to that point is the ultimate.
You sing also? You also sing when you play?
Not really.
Yeah.
I've pretty much kept in my lane with the instruments. I mean, I can hum a tune, but there's so many other, like I said, I'm blessed at church. There's so many other good singers that it's not needed or required. And at this point, it's a
Yeah.
good balance for me to basically just play and help others when they're playing. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, because that's when I'm also singing. So I'm just trying to sing the songs. Sometimes I'll just first go through the chords, then I'll try to like go through the song, and then I'll just
yep.
sing, just try to get the melody, and then like sing and play. But I think I'm focusing more on the singing right now than I am with the playing. So now I need to really like, now that I can actually get the melody sounding all right. I need to
So,
get
so,
more
and that's,
sound.
but then that's the thing. It's like when you look at this, you go, okay, what's the point of what I'm doing? It's like when you're doing like that, like if you're singing and playing at the same time, the story of the song or the song is not, hey, look, I can play these chords amazing and it sounds beautiful. It's the words of the song, right? And that melody that goes with it. So it's like if you have that good and the guitar is just randomly, let's say mediocre, way more effective than spending all your time on the music, the direct music portion, and not spending time on what you're actually saying and doing, right? So a good voice with a good song can accept a mediocre guitar and people are still like, that was amazing. Thank you. And like, but then you go back and think you're like, dude, I messed up like 7 chords. I don't even know what I played in the middle of this, but I had this
Yeah,
correct, you know? So, but again, you still need goals on everything,
yeah,
right? So you still
for
want to
sure.
get that guitar better. You still want to get the voice
Yeah,
better, the melody, putting it all together. But same thing, it sounds like you're doing like, you know, hum the melody, then try to sing the melody while you're
yeah.
playing because you got to get that function. So you got to take little steps and little bits at a time and keep moving up. So yeah, yeah, I agree. It sounds like you're on the right track, man.
Do you tune your instrument every time you play? Is that a part of like getting started, or not so much with the guitar?
I think it's a
'Cause
very
I
good
haven't
habit.
really did it, but yeah,
It's
please.
it's one of those like, okay, when it come down to just straight out, do you have to tune it? No, no, you don't. Will it be a very good habit? Yes. And then the more you play, the more you hear how your guitar sounds. So then like there'll be times where like I'll just strum along and like I won't tune, but if I know it's close, I'm not too worried about it because I'm more worried about whatever I'm practicing function wise, whether it's strumming or playing a certain melody. But a very good habit is to tune it because then you know when you sit down to practice, the only variable is you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
To where,
that's good
to where then,
for sure.
and I'm not saying that you don't need excuses, but well, it would have been all right, but my guitar was out of tune. I just didn't tune it.
That's true.
No, I mean, like, so it's like
Yeah,
having that consistent quality there. Again, kind of like making your bed at the beginning of the day, right?
yeah,
Is it needed? No, but you've already
yeah,
accomplished something and you haven't even left the bedroom. And you got that
yeah,
set foundation, you're ready to go.
yeah.
So getting that foundation, I think it is important. Is it necessary? Eh, you know.
Well, it was like when I did with the flute. I thought it was like I had it tuned properly, right? Because you got to put it in. You don't put it in all the way. So I had it out a
Yeah.
little bit. But the guy was like, "Huh? You're playing a different. Huh? No, it's the wrong thing." So like when I pulled it out, oh, it makes difference. I have like the
Yeah.
tone estro follow along. It's really good with the flute, so I can
Uh-huh.
play. And I was wondering why all I kept like getting all like red, yellow, like no greens. But then he just showed me that little like, oh, bring it out more because he actually knows the sound, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Since you know the right sound, and then oh, now I got more greens when I was practicing today. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
And then like if you're
That's a
playing
good
by
point though.
yourself, like just you alone, as long as the
Yeah,
guitar is in tune with itself, it really doesn't matter. But as soon as you go to play with somebody else or a recording,
yeah,
the modern standard pitch, you need to be all in ingredients,
yeah,
right? So that's the also advantage of getting in the habit of tuning is that then you're in the same tonality as everybody else. So you can communicate, you can practice together, you can, so yeah.
So you do open jams like that? How often do you do open jams?
Not as often as I would love to, but I know there are in this where I'm at in Fort Wayne, in this surrounding, like if I would drive 45 minutes in any direction, um, I mean, I could probably go to 5 or 6 open jams a week if I wanted to. Um,
Oh wow.
Mostly
All
bluegrass,
different types. Okay. Bluegrass.
mostly bluegrass. Then there's a Celtic one once a month that I want to start going to, because I have not I can't really play Celtic. I play what I call beginner Celtic. I'm like a 4-year old. I can kind of
Yeah.
speak, but I'm not eloquent. So I'm like,
Mm.
I want to go with people who just do this naturally,
Nice.
and
Fun to
learn.
learn, man.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's just various other little jams, but a lot of it does center around kind of like Americana and bluegrass. Because a lot of the other stuff, there's an open jazz jam that I've been to. That one's great. Take my bass and I get a boom, 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 play jazz. Oh, that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool. I have a friend who's a mentor of mine, like for our church planting ministry. He plays saxophone. So
Oh,
when I
yeah.
went to Australia, I like him and his wife. They would do gigs at like the casino or whatever, just on the weekends. They said that's how they pretty much supported their ministry. Like they would just go there. He plays saxophone and piano. She sings. It's interesting. Like there's a lot of opportunities also for people,
Yep.
instruments like weddings and singing at weddings and like
Wow.
going and enjoying all the beautiful places and eating
Yeah.
the food and celebrating with the people and just bringing the.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've already got one wedding lined up this year, so I've got one in May. I'll be playing at a
What
guy
will
I
you
know
play?
who I'll be playing violin actually,
Oh, wow,
and
yeah.
and then a guy I know will be playing organ.
Nice. I
Uh,
saw
Here we go. That was weird.
the one girl who was doing the cello. She's like a wedding celloist, so she has all these
Oh
pictures,
yeah,
like beautiful things in nice dress, like with the cello or whatever. Oh man, that's cool.
yeah. No, there's just if you look for the opportunities, there's plenty
Mm,
out there, plenty of them.
yeah,
So yeah. Part of it's just looking and deciding you want to go into
yeah,
that aspect of the music. So
yeah. It's good. I
so
well, I really have a heart to train other people. I'm getting older, you know what I mean? But like the next generation, especially like AI and
yeah,
stuff. And I use AI. I mess around with the AI also because I'm trying to train my ear and how like every song I'm making, like the flute is in there. So I can I'm trying to train my ear. It's a very good tool that way. But I also want to play my own instruments, sing my own stuff. But the next generation, I think now is more than ever, we need to like train up musicians that really have a love for the instruments and not, because it's easy just
yeah,
to, the different tools that we have, which are great tools, but you know what I mean? To really have people, because that's going to be what's sought out after, right? People that are
yes,
really like authentic.
yeah.
That
Because and
yeah,
the more we get into the digital, I mean, we're already well engulfed with the digital age, but the more we get
yeah,
into that, the more people will be wanting and needing and requesting suitably the analog.
yeah,
Like just
for
straight
sure.
out. Wait, you don't use AI for no? This is it's a dumb
Yeah,
instrument.
yeah,
It's not an AI instrument. Um, but once people get past that very beginning phase and they start making any type of song sound, if they want it, as soon as they get that, it's like candy. They're ready to get more and go for it.
oh man.
So
When I
yeah,
had like the first note on the flute, it wasn't like a high pitched thing. I ran into my wife's room. I was like, "Honey, look! I made a sound." I was all happy. I was like, it wasn't even like a note, but I was like, "It's just
yeah,
like, oh, I can make this thing like talk."
yeah,
So, yeah, it's awesome. Sorry,
yeah.
I've kept you for like a couple hours. It's been great, man. Time just flew by. It's
Hey, that's
amazing.
all right.
Thank
That's
you. Thank you
okay.
so much.
You're welcome.
Like, so for your school group, because I also
Yeah.
want, people to, plug in there for your school group. What kind of people are you looking for in the school group? The one that you have, it's a string thing.
The Yeah. So the string thing right now, it really is. It's geared more towards music teachers. I'm actually contemplating kind of pivoting that a little bit and kind of doing music teachers and music appreciation, to where it kind of just broadens and get a few more people in there. But then, if things go well and I don't run into any speed bumps, either next week late or the following week, I'm going to open up another school that will then be my my string translator Skool.
Mm.
And that will be where it's like, okay, you play guitar, but you want to play violin. This is how you do it. And I'm going to start off with basically just bass. So from guitar to bass, to where you can just go, you already play guitar? Good. Here's a couple lessons. This is how you translate into playing bass. And then some advanced lessons to go from like playing just bass to going, oh, we're going to have some fun and playing some really weird stuff and, or have that ability, and then I'm going to slowly add more instruments to where then like that picture of all the instruments, the couch with all those, basically
Amazing,
what'll happen is my school will be like, you go, I play violin. I want to learn guitar. Ta-da. Here's your lessons. I play dobro, but I want to play bass. Here's your lessons, and basically be able to go in with whatever you play and just play. Because then I'll eventually be putting like very beginner lessons on my string thing school to where it'll just, it'll be like, okay, look, at the very beginning, this is how you do it. But then once you have this foundation, I've got this page and you can just open up the entire world. So,
so it's not just for teachers on your school group, or is it just more?
Well, I started it off with just for teachers, but I think I'm going to switch it to basically a little bit still geared towards music teachers, but include basically music appreciation. So that way you can include everybody. But I would wager most of the communication and videos and everything on there are going to be more teacher based. It's not a huge group yet, but hey, it's a.
And so what is and also, so what are some of the things that the teachers can gain from in the group? Like,
a lot of it is my hope is that we basically just communicate to each other. Like, look, I've had this problem when I teach. How do you guys solve this problem? Because I guarantee you, there's problems I have that people solved years ago and don't have that problem anymore because they solved it. So I'm like, tell me how you solved that. But then there's stuff that I figured out maybe day one on accident, and they still haven't figured out how to solve. So basically, how do we get, kind of like how you said, the next generation? I want next generation, generation after, and even the current generation and older generation. It's like if you got somebody that just retired and they're like, I want to play on a worship team. Sounds good, man. Start hanging out about once a week. Let's get you to a place where you can play. Because then that encourages the younger generation. And again, it's all, so it's like the more we can communicate and become better teachers, the better the next generation gets taught, the more they're likely to then continue on and give whatever knowledge they have to the next generation. Like most teaching, trying to get it as cyclical as possible and as long as possible.
And I think that's amazing because I remember learning my language, doing my language lesson to learn the Filipino language. It was like, there's something, you don't just learn the language, but you learn the culture. But like, there's a difference between somebody who would pick up my teacher's book and try to teach it compared to my teacher who's teaching it for like 25 years. And she knows, like the things that the students struggle with and is able to help them much faster. Right. So it's kind of like, I always look at it like, if I want to learn something, I try to find the best teacher I can because it all helps you to really 1 hour with a great teacher is better than 10 hours with
Yes.
But it's good to learn from different people, but that's really great being around different people who are teaching that can share also, because to prevent burnout, like frustration and all those things, it's like in counseling, counselors need like a group of people they can confine in and,
they hang out with other counselors. They,
Yeah.
I mean, like, cause you need that. And then on top of it all of our brains work slightly different. There's some things that come super easy to me. And I look at people and I go, I have no idea why you don't understand this. Then there's stuff I have struggled with for years. And people are like, what are you doing, man? Like, you've tried this like 7,000 times. You still can't do it. I don't know. It just doesn't work, man. So finding that teacher that then works with you, right? And sometimes you got to admit that whatever student you have might do better with a different teacher.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know I've had a couple piano students that I've had that I'm like, guess what? You're as good as me, if not better. It's time to find another teacher, and that's what it is. You just have to let it go. But
even like you said, to make it easier, like just with the simple chord you taught me, that like, oh, I'm struggling with this. Oh, that's what you're struggling with. Well, you do it this way, and it's gonna like make everything a lot easier. So that's awesome.
And then I've even had more than one person, usually more the adults, that either have like a finger that's permanently bent or like an old injury to where something doesn't work. So
this one like locks up for some reason.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing the piano, for some reason it locks.
Yeah. So then depending on how that goes, guess what? We have to modify it. Right? I mean, like I've seen people play guitar with only their feet.
What?
Right? So do you really need your hands? Right? I mean, again, that's quite adaptive, right? That's the extreme. But
with your teeth?
there's probably better ways to brush your teeth, yes. But but no, so like everything else, we can modify most things. So then it's like, how do you modify this when you run into this problem? Right? So that's where teachers working together of any level, right, help out.
I think that's genius. Actually, that's very good, because in this, it's very competitive too, right? If you're a teacher, you're not just going to your competitor like, oh, how do you figure this out, right? So sometimes people, it's the same person in there, there can be that thing. So it's nice you have like that school group where people can they don't have that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't, the competition or something. I don't know. There's another reason why it's very important to plug into something like that where you can, encourage each other. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, can I pray for you? Let me pray for your school group. And that's, we'll call night, or your day's just getting started.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you so much for Eric, for his life. I thank you for open up the opportunities for him to be able to really focus on what he loves the most, and be able to move forward in his business with that. And thank you for the opportunities you opened up for him with the Sweetwater facility. That sounds amazing. I hope I can go visit it one day. That would be good to see. But I pray, Father, for his students, for patience, for wisdom, just and how to teach them and how to get them to love instruments. And never know, the students he's teaching could be the next worship leader, next influential musician. So I pray, Lord, that he'd also be able to impart into their lives, just be the hands and feet of Christ in that place. So anoint him, bless him. I pray also for the school group, that you would cause that to prosper as well, and that the right people would be in there that are hungry to learn more, to share their knowledge and to learn and to grow. I pray, Father, also that it can be financially a blessing as well to him, and so that he can buy more instruments and do more things and be able to, just continue to teach more people. So I thank you, Lord, for his time. I plead the blood of Christ over him. I thank you for what we were able to share today, and just for getting to know his story. And I pray that you bless him even in his church and the music ministry there. Just so many things, Lord, that and so many, even the wedding coming up. I pray, Father, for that as well. There's so much good things that can come out of music. And so continue to help him to learn and to have good students. And we thank you, Lord God. We want to do everything to glorify you and bring honor to your name. So we bless you in the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
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 Awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll end up doing this again at least once or twice. So
I hope so, man. We can make it a regular thing. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's really good. But I definitely be posting some clips and stuff. So bless you, man. Take care.
Wonderful.
Have a great day. And it was great. Appreciate it.